Hello, hello, happy Friday, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to our weekly recap. It's been another busy week. I'm so glad to see so many people here. There's a lot of spaces that are happening right now. And Scoble, I see you there. Thanks for joining us. I just noticed there's so many people that are having spaces about a lot of things related to AI. So I thank you all for coming and spending some time with us. We do have a special guest here, Mike Dowdery. Yeah, I'm going to just muck it all up, but Mike Doherty from Remix. And Remix is sponsoring today. And I really appreciate that because I only work with brands that I truly am passionate about. And I am passionate about Remix. And I'm glad that you're able to come and spend a few minutes and talk to us about some of the amazing milestones that Remix has recently hit and how it's affected the community and some of the new features that we have here. So thank you. Welcome to everybody for spending some time. And I'm going to get Mike up here in just a second. I do appreciate everyone coming. And if you notice, you can go ahead and leave comments down in the chat at the bottom. If you see that heart at the bottom of the screen, please feel free to put some comments in there, questions, plug yourself, drop whatever information you want in there, look around, show some love with the emojis, and we'll go ahead and get started. So I have Salma, who's my co-host today. Allie's here. Taylor will be coming a little bit later, and Alan T has come. He's joined us to talk about some of the things that he's been writing about, covering a lot of open source topics and things that we're going to get into. But I want to introduce Mike before anything major happens. I want you to come up here and talk. But
Hey,
thanks for coming,
Heather.
Mike. And I was just looking at it's only been 5 months since launch, and you've hit 350,000 users, and what over like millions of 15 million posts, hundreds of thousands of remixes. It's just been wild, and it's so much fun.
Yeah.
So, what do tell us a little bit about what's going on?
Well, thanks, Heather. Also, I think I usually join these when there's something major happening, like in pretty much every week.
Yeah.
And so this week there was a lot going on, but nothing so major that we had to, make that the only thing. But
Thank goodness. Yeah.
in any case, yeah. So when we started Remix, we had this idea that we could kind of combine social plus AI creation in a way that hadn't been done before. And we thought that maybe in the process we could create a new type of consumer app that was built with AI from the core and try to make it kind of fun. I think a lot of people wondered if we were going to become a tool. Like there's a lot of tools out there, and maybe wanted us to become more of a tool. And we all along had this idea that maybe AI could also be fun and it can be uplifting. And when people make things, they might have a better experience with social than maybe we do with the current type of social, which is very performance based and things like this. Anyway, without getting into that, um, we've had just an amazing first 5 months. There was, like you said, hundreds of thousands of people who have joined the community and 10 million creations along the way. So people are super creative and they're making really amazing things and learning from each other as they do it. So that's the fun part is, going from a newbie who doesn't maybe hasn't made any AI creations before to becoming an advanced user pretty fast just by seeing what other people are doing and learning from them. So that's been amazing. And as part of that, a lot of posting in the feed. So there's been about 15 million posts in the feed and millions of likes. And so I think one of the things that we thought would happen, we're excited to see happening, which is a lot more engagement than what you see on some of the tools feeds and things like that with our product because we just built it that way. So you're seeing, millions of likes and lots of posts with, tens or hundreds of likes on them, even thousands of likes in some cases with just this early user base. So it's cool to see I think it's nice to get some likes when you make something. You do a post and then you get a few people liking it, you get a notification and you're like, oh yeah, I did a good job. Or if someone remixes you, that feels good too. So
And people learn too, learn while they're on there.
yeah, I mean, I look at prompts all the time to see how people made theirs. Um, and in fact, that's one of the ways that I personally have become better at being a creator. Um, so so we're excited about that. A little feature there on creation is we just rolled out auto roll, so users can hit auto roll and it'll just roll out 10 in a row, so you can just kind of watch it happen and pick the one you like the best. But we did another fun thing this week. So this week was a pretty big week for us. We had a few things happen. One was that I was close to my heart, which was uh, related to experimentation. And I think that one of the coolest things about this phase of AI is how weird and experimental it is. And I felt that if we weren't going to lean in and be experimental ourselves, we kind of miss a big opportunity. So we rolled out a fun feature this week, which we're not sure if people are going to love or not. It's still pretty fun from my perspective, but it's called the U feed, and you just go to your Remix app, you go to the top right, tap this little emoji that's there, and then it'll ask you to pick a photo, whether it's a selfie or maybe a character that you like to use, or any kind of photo like that, a photo of a face. And when you do that, you can just start scrolling and the entire social feed becomes that image. And so it's really weird. It's kind of uncanny. It doesn't change the image, by the way, so it doesn't affect the core image that the person posted. It's just private for you to see, but it's pretty hilarious actually. And you end up, like, for example, my face. I would use my face and I would scroll through it, and I'm seeing myself on different genders and animals and things, and I don't know. It made me kind of look at myself a little differently. So anyway, you can try that out if you like. It's kind of an interesting take on the internet of me and a social feed. Um, and then the last thing that we rolled out was something that I think Alan might be talking about as well. But that's just all the innovation that's occurring in open source. And we're just a huge believer in open source. There's a lot of advancements that are happening with proprietary engines that are truly magical. And this, last couple of weeks, we've seen some of them. But open source is also moving very rapidly and radically, bringing the magic. And I think the gap is actually, from a user perspective, the perception gap is closing more rapidly than you think between what open source is doing and what these sort of proprietary engines can do. But we rolled out, we tend to get a lot of feedback from the community about open source engines that are really hot or really good. And so we try to prioritize those engines. And so we rolled out this week 6 new engines in our platform. Some of them are pretty awesome, actually. And so I'm excited about that because, frankly, it makes the feed a lot better with all this new content coming in that's amazing. So lot going on that we're just excited to be part of the community around.
Well, I also wanted to ask you about face mix because it goes along with a lot of the personalization that we're seeing now, and that we can apply throughout all of our visual stories, or if you choose. But how has that been, the face mix feature?
Yeah, face mix has been something that we've been working on for a while. We're training our own engine behind the scenes, and the idea is that in addition to social being about identity in some way, so having the ability to put yourself into the stories that you create, and there's been a lot of avatar apps and other things that do that. In fact, some amazing things that we're going to be seeing soon with emo, I guess EMO, and some of the other engines that are coming in the open source space that are absolutely magical. But in any case, the avatar space was one of the first areas that AI took off around. We started to look at it and said, well, stories are cool. Putting yourself into stories could be interesting, but also face mix can be used for character consistency, because you might have a character that isn't being rendered exactly the right way every time by an image generator. And so if you can put an extra layer of face mix on it using the character, like sort of a stock character that you have, you can really tune that image, the final version of that image, closer to the character that you want to make. So we think that face mix is a layer that is very useful in creating consistency, whether it's about you or other types of stories you want to tell.
for my panel. Anybody want to ask Mike some questions about what we've been talking about? Taylor, thanks for joining us. I know you were late, but thank you so much. Go ahead, Alan.
Hey, Mike, how's it going? First off, congratulations on the 10 million total creations. It's a massive milestone. I'm sure
Thank
it's
you.
probably already 11 million from the time that you posted it. Uh,
Yep.
so, amazing new models that just got updated today. I've been playing with them all day. Is that a plan for Remix to continue to bring new models onto the platform? For instance, when when SD3 finally comes out, is there a plan to bring that onto the platform?
Yeah, for sure. No question. So we want to get to the point where if it becomes clear that a model is really good, that we could deploy it in 48 hours. We're not quite there yet, but we're getting there related to some development we're doing in our pipeline and platform. Um, in fact, the harder part is really trying to make sure that we help users give them guidance as to what to use the new models for. So what are they really good at? And especially newbies, like if they come in and they want to make some anime or something, could we give them a default experience where one of the newer anime oriented models is chosen for them almost on a default basis? And so those are the kinds of things that we're going to try to design into the user experience. But yeah, we're very interested in bringing the best of models in quickly because we think that it's just so much fun to use them and to see how the end results are so much better with these new innovations that are happening all the time. Video is definitely part of the equation as well. We have loops, and loops is kind of raw compared to what you see with Pika and other amazing platforms. And so we think that as open source video engines become more powerful and that you can control them more, that loops will expand to become a more advanced video offering in Remix. So be on the lookout for that. And finally, real time. So real time is very exciting and mostly used lots of cool ways. There's some new tools that were launched this week, and a lot of people are trying to figure out how to pull real time into workflows that can be useful for creators. I think there's a lot of opportunity for real time to be deployed in fun social experience, so a consumer app experience. And so you'll see hopefully that coming from us as well.
Awesome, thank you. And I definitely appreciate the thought of kind of putting up examples for new users. Each model is a little different. I mean, I have so many stable lores and things downloaded to my computer. I'm taking up all my damn memory. Um, I guess kind of in that vein, is there any thought to potentially for a new user having kind of a base prompt to start with? And I say that because prompting on a stable diffusion back is different than prompting in something like Midjourney or the various different platforms.
Yeah, that's right. So Remix, the feature came out of that idea, which is you want the new user to come in and be able to start with something that wasn't a blank page and maybe get something pretty good on their first roll or their first post. So remixing was sort of that idea where, hey, they could leverage someone else's and then change it a bit. But and then styles was something else that we were working on where and templates and filters that also bake into it a better prompt structure such that the new user would have a better outcome. But I do believe that there are maybe ways that we could help the users learn how to write prompts and or more importantly, like not have to write prompts as sophisticated as for stable diffusion. So like maybe we make it a little easier for them. You you might see that in a future version of Remix, and we're thinking a lot about how we can make the experience uh, more simple and easy for more people to use um, while keeping the power of the text prompt as the idea. Because I think that's what makes AI different than other types of creation that we're all used to, which is that we're starting with an idea and not starting with a camera. So, and the idea is it comes from the text. So to be able to kind of make the text prompting part of it easier is something that we're going to be looking at in the next couple months. But yeah, I love all the models too. By the way, these models are kind of hard to figure out which ones you like better. I mean, it's sort of like when you go to a wine tasting and they're saying, "Oh, obviously this one's way better," and you're like, "I don't know, they both taste pretty good." So there's the models. Some of them are kind of subtle insofar as what they're good at now. That's how good they're getting. So it's fun to play around to see what they're better at.
Mike, any thoughts about kind of the future of AI generation, image generation as all these models start to get better?
I mean, speed, latency. So that's why I think real time is so important. Um, the world changes when you don't have to wait. The time from idea to creation being instant um, opens up uh, many, many more iterations that you can go through before to even help you think through the ideas that you want to create, so that the AI becomes much more of a collaborator with you, and you're bouncing ideas off of it as fast as you can think of them. So I think real time is fun. Real time is important from the perspective of creation. Um, and so that's a big one. I do think that real time doesn't output as high a quality right now as it will. So the innovations around real time we will see is to take real time outputs to be equal to the type of output we're seeing where it takes 20 seconds to make something. But yeah, latency, if we can remove latency, I think that's going to be a big deal. It also unlocks other types of, as we've seen with some of the other products out there that have launched, other types of input methods, such as stylus, or we were playing around with voice, swiping, all sorts of fun new ways of interacting to create things.
Hey, Mike. Congratulations on the milestone. Just have a quick question in relation to the face remix, face mix feature. Are you guys looking to fine tune it some more and make it more photorealistic? And if so, how far are you going to push that boundary?
So we're currently training a model that's getting better each week. That model, we're looking at a couple of vectors on it. One is obviously you want to be able to apply it to the image and it kind of fit the image where it doesn't look like you're photoshopping something in there. So that's the first step is just making sure it's integrated to the base image well. And the reason why integration to base image is important is because when you have a feed or a wide range of styles with an app like Remix, you'd want to be able to add your likeness or the likeness of the photo or the character into a wide range of potential styles. So not just photos, but cartoons or paintings or whatever. And so the first step is, can we make sure that the likeness or the identity of that face can be applied regardless of the style? So that's one of the things we're training on, without edges or without pixelation, or so it looks natural, like it was naturally part of the creation. And we're making a lot of progress on that. So we just had a meeting earlier today, and we were looking to see how much better um, some of the consistency has been on that. The other thing we're trying to do is to allow the bounding box, or essentially the part of the experience that identifies the face, to work on a wider range of faces, because some of the technology doesn't recognize the face very well. And so how can we make sure that most heads that have a place to put a face get captured by this technology? So that's another area that we're focused on. And again, because the range of styles is so wide with Remix, you might have a cartoon with like a big head with a narrow neck, or some sort of surreal thing that looks like Picasso made it or somebody, and that's not surrealism, but you get the point. Something that where the face doesn't easily map to it, and that's harder. So that's what we're trying to figure out, is how do we get those faces into more scenarios. When they land, they're absolutely amazing and sometimes completely hilarious. So it's worth it when it works. And so we're working on the engine to try to make it work most of the time.
I wanted to open it up just a little to ask any, because there's a lot of remixers here and different people that might have some questions. And since we don't have half the panel, I wanted to ask if anybody had any specific questions related to remix or things that are happening around that space. Put it in the comments or request the mic. We had a couple people requested the mic, but just for a few minutes, we wanted to give a chance. If you want to ask Mike any questions. And he was speaking at Stanford the other day. I just want to mention he was guest lecturing, I think, and also had a TEDx, talk last week. So he's been talking a lot about some very interesting topics and just checking to make sure. I know there were people that were asking for the mic, but I don't see. If not, if you can hang around for a little bit, Mike, I'd appreciate it. If not, if we can let you go, and I know you'll be back. But I didn't want people to feel left out. But thank you all for coming and showing some support. Taylor, did you have any questions, or Ali?
Yeah, I can jump in really quick with a quick question, which
Thank
is,
you.
and I'm so sorry, Mike, that I missed the first couple minutes of this, jumping on a late call, but I heard from Heather that you mentioned some of like the key milestones, and so I think just for like many of us listening, who are either on the platform or are considering joining, like I'm wondering if you could just like paint a picture. And I apologize again if this is a recap, but like of the broader landscape right now with Remix in terms of sort of a really like innovative social media app that's come into this space. And so like what does that big picture look like? I know that you guys have hit some pretty big milestones with users. So congratulations. That's like amazing news. But like has there been any discussion of like, what is next? How is there app partnerships in play and things like that? So I can just sort of visualize it at scale.
Sure. I guess it starts with this idea that we wanted to create a place where you could share AI creations and not feel like you're spamming people or bothering them like you might feel on Instagram or some other platform where it has such a wide range of content that maybe not everyone wants to see your latest AI creation. So we thought maybe there needs to be a place for this to happen now. And that's so one thing you can do with Remix is just come to a community that is built for sharing image and video AI content in a place where everyone gets it and isn't going to criticize you for making with AI. So that's one, and it's supportive, and it's one that people ask each other how they made things, and they comment on each other's posts generally in a supportive way. So we're really liking the way the community is helping each other get better at becoming creators. So that's one thing. But we designed the app with the belief that video would be coming quickly and quote is next. And obviously it's now, it's this year. But when we built it initially 5 months ago, we said, well, we should definitely build this for video because someday there's going to be a lot of video in this platform and the types of video is going to be very engaging. So I think that what you see now is a community that's building with a high level of engagement per post compared to other platforms because that's just the way we designed it. Um, and over time, I think you'll see a deeper and richer set of content that may even start to pull the weight of quote media. In other words, it might be entertaining enough where the feed is something you just want to spend time with. Um, just like you do with other forms of social media where maybe you don't produce as much, but you just look at the media. Our platform is, as I think I've mentioned on this before, is more 50-50. So we're very lean forward. So it's a little bit different kind of social, quote unquote. It's not as lean back as TikTok. So we have about half of our users are making things and about 17 things a day, actually. There's about 4 or 5 posts per person per day. And again, many of those posts get, a lot of likes. We are working on related to the feed, trying to get rotation of new users through kind of like what TikTok does. So we get people who are new and or something that you just posted have a little bit more distribution, so it can get in front of more people. So that's something we're working on with the algorithm. But yeah, really excited about the community, really excited about the engagement, and I think people are just getting really good at making stuff. So the content's just awesome.
I love that. Have you guys at all explored like an advertising model at all for brands or AI adjacent brands that might be interested in reaching, some of the users that are uh, using Remix now?
Yeah, it's definitely come up a lot. I think the next thing you'll see from us that's similar to that would be community. So we'll be developing some ways that you can create communities that perhaps even are subscribable to. Um, and although that's not directly an advertising or a brand oriented feature set, it is something that I think brands could potentially really enjoy because they could create areas that are associated with their brand. Um, we think that this is important because we do find that sometimes when the feed gets really busy, becomes more anonymous. And so if we can create sub communities or subreddit kind of concepts within the platform, it might create a smaller feel to it that might be very intimate and people can enjoy making with each other. So we'll see what happens, but that's something that we're working on next. But yeah, brands, the brands are going to be a big part of these types of products in the future.
Alan, did you have a question?
I did, yeah. Mike, my one of my favorite features on Remix is the daily remix. Is there any thought about having a way for users to submit to be the daily remix of the day to be chosen?
Yeah, that's a fantastic idea. So we have one of our great team members, Tyler. He manages this sort of calendar of remixes, and he's always like, okay, which one should I do? So like I think that the more we could, first of all, the whole point of daily remix is a community oriented event, and so the more we can have the community's fingerprints all over that, the better in my view. So we would love to have that. Also, in addition to daily remix, another area that we want to have the community's um, fingerprints and sort of identity all over is are these filters that we create. And so because I think there's some really cool filters that a creator could make that everyone could see it's sort of theirs. And what the filter does that's a little different than a prompt or different than a daily remix is that it goes into the filter section so that a new user could come and just tap it to start to create a post. But with the filter, we can put multiple layers of processing in it so that, for example, we could combine a prompt with face mix such that you could theoretically make a better, like, I'm just using an example. Let's say we wanted to make a photo booth for a New Year's Eve party or something, and that's the filter. So building the layers there, or let's, like that yearbook app, remember that was funny and we were all using for a while, like where there's sort of ironic twists to like 1990s yearbook. So those types of filters might require multiple layers of processing to kind of nail them. And so think of community-based filters where the creator has an idea around one, but needs us to kind of build the layers a little bit into the filter. That's another area that we would be excited about. But it's a great idea, and in fact, I'll bring it back to the team.
Perfect. Thank you.
Well, this is thank you so much for spending this time with us and going over all this, and congratulations on all of the achievements of the app, of the team, and what's coming in the future. I'm very excited about it, and I hope that people take some time to look at it. It's not like any other app. It's not competing with other apps. It's just different. And you can bring in your pictures from images from other platforms and remix them and do different things there, or post videos and things. So there's a lot you can do, and it's just a different feel. Like you said, a lot of us are on there creating. We're not just
Yeah.
scrolling. So
Hey,
it's a lot of fun.
Heather, on that point, it's not something I say enough because we're talking about our engine so often and making stuff in the app. But I mean, we built this from the beginning with the idea that there's going to be so much killer stuff being made by Pikas and Runways and, Dali and obviously Sora soon and all that. So this should be a place where, again, you can share, you feel like it's a community that wants to see it, that people will comment on it, and that it's a safe place where people won't like wonder why you're doing it. And I think so for sure, post from any engine. I just have fun. Like I always say, just make it cool, have fun, and from any engine for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we all just want to learn, and like you said, the things that people are making now, I see they are improving. Everybody's getting better. There's so many tools out there, and even the image generators are responding so much easier to prompts, though you don't have to put as much work into it. So give it a shot and see. But I appreciate it. And please hang around. If you guys have any questions for Mike or about Remix, please drop it into the chat. Put your creations down there. If you tried the new models, drop that down there too. Encourage each other and, take a look and see. You might find people that are on Remix under different usernames or under their same name. And you can, kind of follow them on there and just kind of see what we're creating. Because I always run back and forth and kind of test out different prompts on Remix just to see how it works on different stable diffusion models and things like that. But it's just fun. So I appreciate it. And you can hang around. We're going to talk about what's going on in the world right now with I'm not sure how to really phrase it, but it's kind of like, things are starting to everything's accelerating. We have this technology where Sora just came out and took our breath away. Then we have, emo. It's animating the Sora videos like realistically, pretty much. That's wild. So we're getting to the point where even with the image generation models in the video, where it's creating things that it's looking so realistic, it's getting hard to kind of tell the difference. But what do you all think about that? I wanted to get ask the panel. And Alan, you've been writing about a lot of the open source technology, including emo or EMO. I'm not sure how we pronounce it, but what are you seeing with the way this stuff is advancing, and what should we look out for?
Yeah, absolutely. There's been a lot of work done really in the past couple months on these talking head avatars, which is what they are. Um, every big company you can think of has been doing research on this, whether it's open source or not. So what we've seen this week is we've seen Emo by Alibaba. The one thing I would caution everyone with um, is that the code isn't fully released yet, right? I mean they put out the GitHub link. They did a push about 3 days ago, but you can't run it locally yet. So I always caution until we can run something. It's hard to know if it's being cherry picked or not. What we're seeing, but either way, I mean, it's pretty clear that these talking head avatars are progressing pretty fast. And what's great about that is you see a lot in the community, both for AI filmmakers, creators, YouTube content creators, whatever it happens to be. Um, you see a lot that they really want their avatars to be expressive, right? There's this weird feeling that you have if you're watching an avatar, whether it's in a training video or YouTube video, and they just feel very static, right? You don't see a lot of movement in the face. You don't see the cheekbones move. Um, so a lot of these platforms are trying to get around this, right? They want to make these things expressive. They want you to feel that what you're looking at is real or real enough for the moment. Um, so with emo, they've kind of crossed this bridge where you see these facial movements that almost trick the brain that you're looking at something that could be real, right? And that's has the ability to sing, to talk, to argue. um, and if it gets released, again, big if, it's always an if, but if it does, that's going to be a pretty big thing on social media. If you want to run a faceless YouTube channel, Well, now technically you can put a face to it. It's just an AI face, right? So you upload a single image, you write whatever your script is to the AI, and then it's just going to produce this person, this influencer, if you will, right? So things are about to get weird. Um, I personally like weird, but we'll kind of see where it goes. And then uh, before I jump over, I was going to say the other thing we have this week is we have Pika lip sync, uh, which is really cool. I think the Pika team did a really great job. Um, it's always a little awkward when one thing gets released and then another thing drops almost immediately, and you have the comparison. Pika came out, and then the next day emo dropped. Um, but Pika did a great job. You're already seeing a lot of people implement lip sync. I seen a really cool thing on Twitter a couple of days ago where one of the users is kind of recreating Ocean's 11 using the lip sync. It's really funny, and I hope he continues doing it. Um, so yeah, those are kind of the two big development in talking head or lip sync technologies.
I was going to ask, how are these similar to what DID and HeyGen, what they were doing? Is it similar with what emo is doing and what I guess lips Picas is not necessarily, but
Uh,
emo.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's very similar technology. It's again, they're trying to make these talking head avatars. Um, they're good, but emo takes it to another level, right? Because again, you get those expressive movements in the face and the cheekbone and the eye twitch, the mouth opens up. You can see the tongue and the teeth, which just again, it's weird to think about, but it makes you feel like you're looking at something that's just a little more human.
Yeah, it's very weird. Sometimes it's amazing, but it's weird. Like this morning for my good morning, I animated with my cloned voice from 11 Labs, my good morning telling people to drop their stuff. I think we have it up at the top, or someone you can put it up at the top there. But it's the voice is cloned so good that my kids refuse to listen to it. They can't stand it whenever I put it on to, and it's not, it doesn't have the facial movements other than the mouth. That's one thing about Pikas. I'm sure they're working on that, and probably by next week that'll be different. But it is uncanny to see for EMO like this, the way the head turns and the wrinkles, the smile lines and things like that. It's like, what do you think about it? My panel, I was just wondering, any thoughts? Allie, Taylor, some.
Yeah, I can weigh in on that. I saw I just pinned up at the top a post that Amelie made a couple days ago. I don't think she's here, but I miss her either way, so I'm including her in the conversation. And I just like could not believe. So this is EMO. I don't know. I'm calling it emo. That's what I'm calling it. That's the name. Emo. Just absolutely amazing. And like to your point, that you had just asked Alan, Heather, about like if there's actually, like what are the key differences in terms of the process and like the technology back end behind it is kind of something that I'm curious with, because seeing this, seeing what emo is outputting just feels so much more realistic or so much closer to realism than I think I've seen from any of these other generators. I mean, I thought the lip sync with Pika releasing was like amazing, but then I also saw the parallels with like Genmo, and a couple of those other tools. And then emo popped up on my feed and I'm like, what is this? The eye movements, the forehead expressions, the cheeks and jaw, like all of it just kind of in sync together. Really, it excited me because in my mind it's like a very clear glimpse of um, you know what is to come very soon in terms of the content that we're going to be seeing everywhere, and not just in the AI space either. You guys, there are already brands and advertisers, who are like tapping into this and trying to find ways to make it work within their business. So I'm excited for it.
I think too, you can when you tie in the other things that you've been posting about Alan with the body movements and the that all of that tied together. It's kind of like we are getting to the point where we will have full fledged bodies moving and dancing or doing whatever, um, with the appropriate
Oh
lip
yeah.
sync and
Yeah.
it's
What was the what was the framing tool that was came out like I don't know, mid last year? Control Net. So like a
Mhm.
similar, I mean, Control Net, it's so crazy to just to see like how far we've come with Control Net, and now using natural language able to like automate a lot of, or not automate, but like generate a lot of this is just insane to me.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah,
I Go ahead,
I was
Alan.
gonna say, yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I can't wait. Again, hopefully they make it open source so we can see actually what's going on under the hood. But yeah, we're getting closer every day. I mean, just yesterday, I forget the user's name. I'll try to find the post. He was kind of working on a proof of concept model where he could use an LLM to be predictive in text. So instead of writing out your prompt and then waiting for the model to run and then output what you're asking, it would be running in real time. So if you think about that and you think about this case of kind of AI influencers and talking head avatars, right? If you can get something that's running in real time, you can almost make it conversational. Um, so you can think about being on some kind of video chat. Uh, and it doing the speaking for you, so you don't have to actually show your face. Um, Again, you could potentially be on one of these video spaces that Twitter is pushing out now, and not actually be you. So we're getting there. We're close.
Yeah, it's a lot. Allie, I was going to ask you if you have a minute to talk about yesterday with Grimes. It might tie into this because I was just wondering how it will like play out with the live performances and things like that. But you had some news about Midjourney office hours in Grimes.
Yes, and I can also follow or give a little bit of my 2 cents, and maybe from a different angle about the whole, as we're moving along here very fast again with the
Yeah,
lip syncing and things like that. So I think that, if you think about, okay, could I have some kind of a content on YouTube where I'm only doing it this way? It's the faceless channel in a way, but it's actually a face with somebody talking. I mean, we already have that, but it's getting to be more and more realistic. And soon it will be probably so much so that you don't know the difference. Now, could you take advantage of that and then create something like that? Of course. There will be room for everybody, regardless of what your workflow is. It's just more so find what kind of works with you. And this can be one of those avenues and paths that you can follow. But and then before going to that Grimes, the other thing I'm seeing right now is that we are getting, and perhaps also what Mike referenced a bit too, is we are seeing this kind of clumping of a lack of a better word together of several different things, or as a creator you are using Pika, you're using Midjourney, you're using something else, ChatGPT. I mean, I'm just using some broad terms, but you could literally use 10 or 20 different things. But perhaps if there's a beneficial relationship or collaboration or partnership or whatever, that two things can work together. For example, Perplexity and 11 Labs, where now they have a daily podcast, is an example of that. Or the way that Midjourney has perhaps, or I guess it was Elon more so hinting that perhaps there's a collaboration. But any image generator, for example, or a research lab that creates images or video could do a collaboration or partnership with a language model, because there is a mutual benefit. And that just means that there's more for us, and perhaps it's easier for us creators to make something better or make this workflows more streamlined and easier and faster and more convenient, and all of those good things that I think many of us are looking for, when right now we're jumping from one thing to the other to the other, and sometimes that's very disjointed. So I think that is going to be something that people should be somewhat excited about. And then segue to Grimes. So at the end of the Midjourney office hours on Wednesday, I did not know this, but apparently I saw afterwards that Grimes had actually posted that she was going to be on the Midjourney office hours, or it was actually a continuation of the office hours where she was going to chat with the people there and get some ideas for her Coachella performance for this, soon coming up. And she wants to create it with AI. She is very strong proponent and wants to really, I mean, showcase the possibilities out there. And she loves Midjourney. So she's creating a lot of images, but she also wanted to kind of get the hive mind working on different ways and seeing what's possible. And it was actually super exciting and fantastic. And there was a lot of people. There's about 500 people on the call at that point, and people are creating incredible things. So that was super fantastic. And actually having that kind of people working separately but together and kind of playing off of different things, what she said or what we were talking about, whether it was some futuristic Roman Colosseum, female gladiator, whatever the case may be. It was a really fantastic opportunity to kind of work in that kind of what felt intimate setting and advancing the ideas and what is possible. And what she's going to do basically is, however she puts this together, then they're going to take, the images, animate them, whatever they design, which is probably going to be fantastic. But again, super surprised that that happened. And it was a wonderful surprise, honestly. And I could see more and more people, whether they are performers or any, even just in the corporate world, eventually getting to a point where there is more of that mixture of the AI and the possibilities of it in used in various ways.
Well, that's kind of reminds me of like we were talking about with Nicki Minaj and her brilliant marketing with the Gag City and with the Pink album release. And so this is excellent because for Grimes, she's able to reach out and get a wider audience, right? And it brings the community together in a way where it's not necessarily anti AI or whatever, or you know what I mean. It's bringing together different disciplines and different people who are interested in different aspects of it, but all of it is creativity. And it will be really interesting to see how they are able to give credit to whichever art that she chooses or they choose for the to display and animate and what they'll use to animate. I wonder if they will use deform kyber type things where they do frequently for a lot of concerts. They can pretty much uh, have the entire venue surrounded right with a where it's kind of like a immersive experience.
Yes, and she did say that whoever, if she finds images that somebody created, that she is going to credit all of those people, which is fantastic, obviously, of course. And that's the other interesting aspect of it, as people were generating these images, that one of the things that she was looking at is which ones are going to be perhaps easier to animate, right? Like if it's somebody walking towards something like a black hole, for example, or something like that, that would be easier to animate than perhaps something more abstract, crazy, lots of things happening or whatever. But like there is a continuous thought process or the creative process of putting these things together, right? And as we move forward, but again, I feel we're still so early. I mean, I know we keep saying this and we're already, good way into it, but we're still early. And these processes, which are not necessarily natural to us, even though in filmmaking, perhaps, and even some music videos, we have done some of these things, but now we're maybe perhaps looking at it from different perspectives, which I'm saying it's all good because we're using our brains perhaps in different ways than we did.
It's pretty, yeah, it's just amazing. Yeah, every week we come and it's kind of like I didn't expect to be thinking about this particular aspect of things. So it's just really interesting. Thank you for letting us know about that, Ali, because I would not have I didn't expect to see that coming down the line. That would be an open prompting session with Grimes at Mid Journey office hours. Another thing is it also kind of helps them break out in it takes them out of the bubble of just being in the mid-journey hardcore office hours, right? Linus is here. What's up? Go
Hello,
ahead, Tia.
hello. Sorry I'm
Minute.
so late.
Thank you. Hey, thanks for joining.
I know it's
No
last
problem.
minute here. I mean, I just wanted to say hi. I'm in Prague of all places, and I've been
Oh,
yeah, I've been flying, so I just managed to get to my hotel just now. So unfortunate.
well, can I just ask you real fast, what was the biggest thing that happened for you this week? Like, what was the biggest shocker or um,
That
new
Logan left OpenAI, I
ah,
think. um,
somebody was asking about that earlier. So yeah, go ahead because I don't know anything about
I
it.
don't know. I don't want to speculate in his private life, but I think that's came to a bit of a shock for me. For those who don't know, Logan is known as Logan.gpt here on X, and he's been working with developer relations over at OpenAI, and I think he's been an integral part for why the LLM community has grown so strong here on X, and he's been doing a lot of really extra work to get people to get access to things and help people that have had problems. So I think in general, it just feels like OpenAI lost quite a talented person with him leaving. But then I don't want to speculate in why that is. That came for a bit of a shock for me. And I also think because of Andre leaving as well, was it last week or the week before? I'm getting a bit of getting some bad vibes from that. But then again, like Silicon Valley, people move around. Maybe they're funding their own thing. I don't know. You never know these things. But that came as a bit of a shock. And then I actually one thing that came to me this week around both Dolly and Sora that I'm not sure if people are fully aware of is the origins. So the reason why OpenAI made Dolly in the first place was so that it could use it as a test bed to see how much the language model knew about the world. So it was never meant to be an image generator for us to play around with, but that was a residual capability of Dolly being built. So in plain English, basically, they wanted to know if the large language model knew what it was being inquired about, and that's why they built DALL-E, so that when we asked it, "What is an apple?" and then DALL-E gives us an image of an apple, it knows that the model knows what an apple is. And then I learned this is quite mind-bending as well, that Zora is a similar model. It's not really meant to be a video model. It's not meant to make videos. It's a world model that's meant to help again with alignment. So if the large language model spits out things and it kind of creates these worlds, Zora is a way to test whether or not the language model understands deeper knowledge about the world. And one of the residual capabilities of Zora is that it can create video. So that is pretty mind blowing for me as well, learning that this is the case for these models, why they built them in the first place. So that was end of my rant. Sorry, that's like 2 minutes of me just mumbling.
No, that's cool. Thank you so much for explaining that. And I didn't realize that either. But I think, like with Ali, when you were talking about how Midjourney wasn't originally supposed to be an image generator, or wasn't meant just for that. They're research. Are they what they call research tool research? But is
Research
it
lab space.
research
It's
lab?
a vehicle vessel.
So
Like
we see it as making cool images, but really maybe that was a similar idea for them too.
Yeah, I think
You know.
we haven't just scratched the surface of what's capable with Zora as far as I'm like the stuff that I've kind of gotten information about this week. It feels like what we're seeing is just the beginning. Zora is a pretty powerful world engine or world model, so I think we can just expect more to come out of that, and on many levels. So that's exciting. Yeah, I'm not sure what you guys have talked about, so I'm not going to go back into things that you have talked about. So I'm just going to call it there and I'll be like very thankful for giving me the mic for a few minutes, Heather. And
Oh, no problem. I appreciate it because that really helped. We were going to wind up, end it in a
yeah,
few minutes here. I appreciate that
perfect.
because
Perfect.
it is sort of like I'm not sure what to wait for next, and it's hard to say when are these things going to be available. I wonder if Sora, like on TikTok, OpenAI appears to have a just opened a started a TikTok account, and all they're posting is Sora videos. They're not posting anything else. So like how long are they going to just, post, generate things that people are putting in the comments or whatever. And I know they have their red team, and then the creatives are separate from the red team, I guess. And they're working on different, whatever they're doing, working on different projects to test it and see how it's going to work. But and then thinking about what you just said, how it's not really, it wasn't meant to be like a consumer product, right? For that, it was more to see how to see the world. And I'm not sure how they were going to take that like into education or research, or how they would use that.
Yeah,
But it's
for sure.
interesting.
Another thing, by the way, so the reason why I'm in Prague and the reason why I was late is I've been in Amsterdam because I've been speaking at a conference yesterday, and then I had a panel this today, and now I'm in Prague because I'm speaking tomorrow, and I have a panel here tomorrow. But what's interesting with the panel that I was in, because it was a developer-focused conference, 7,000 attendees, but at the stage where we had our panel was like about 1,000 developers, and uh, I got surprised because I did a little bit of a polling on the audience because like it was quite a boring moment because the developers can be quite introverts. So I tried to get them worked up a bit, and then I asked them a few questions, and to my surprise, like less than half of the audience have used AI tooling at all. Not even like work with it yet, but just used it, just tried it out. Like 500 people in this audience of like senior developers have not tried these things, and that just give me more kind of wind in my sails that we are in a very little bubble. Like we are maybe, the Twitter sphere of these of us folks that are interested in this. We might be the top 5,000 people in the world in this realm in terms of how much we actually know about this stuff. Because then what's more interesting was I asked more questions about, so do you use this stuff in your daily work? And then about 20% of the 40% are actually using this in their work, day-to-day work. So I get super surprised by that because this is the biggest developer conference in Europe. So yeah, I'm like, oof, mind blown. End of rant.
That is crazy. Mike, what do you want to add to that?
Yeah, hey Lennis, how are you? I was also at two events this week, and now in your case, you're at a developer conference, so you might expect that there'd be a larger percentage of people that have used, AI technology, what have you, for in their workflow or whatever. I was at a TED conference, and I was also at a law school class. At both of them, there was a relatively, when I did the put your hand up question, there was a relatively significant number that have used ChatGPT, the consumer version of OpenAI. But when you ask them to keep their hand up, if they've done text prompting for image, it was probably only 10% of the room that kept their hand up. And then when you ask them for video, there were probably literally only 3 people that would leave their hand up. And then I asked them for music, and literally zero had their hand up. So,
Yeah.
it's your point is, exactly right.
Yeah, that is exactly kind of aligned with what I'm experiencing now, and it's going to be interesting because tomorrow is a complete opposite. I'm at a conference here that's for designers. It's a very design focused conference that I'm speaking at tomorrow, and I have a similar similar kind of range of questions that I'm going to ask, and I think it's going to be in the same vicinity. What was funny with the audience is that they pre-polled the audience and asked them what their titles were. So like what type of developer you are, and in the crowd of the 400 people that answered on the poll, there was 300 something front-end developers, and there were 5 machine learning develop engineers. So I was like, oh, even that crowd, like that's such a small number. So imagine if it was around 10 machine learning engineers in a crowd out of 1,000. That just tells you how much of a deficit there is on this skill. Like we need to like, if someone makes a course or program or knows where to like push people to go into machine learning, that is the place to be. There's no competition. It's just like there's just work everywhere to be found and no one to compete with.
Do you think a lot of the developers realize that there are ways that they can debug much faster, or just there's so many? It seems like that would be a useful. There's a lot of different useful things, or even the GitHub Copilot.
Yeah, I think they're starting to realize. I think a lot of people actually had a good awakening these 2 days. There was a lot of talks around this, and there were some practical implementations. And obviously, developers are usually the ones that are closest to these things. So I was very surprised to kind of like not see more people engaging with the tools. It feels like there is this divide between people that are slightly afraid of getting into this technology, and then you have the others that are not so happy with the output because they've had an experience with, let's say, Copilot 8 months ago or 10 months ago or 6 months ago that was, not up to their standards. And in many cases, that's accurate. But then they never dug deeper. And I can see this is the same way when I first interacted with GPT-3. So GPT-3 was out for a long time and has it's a small, relatively small context window. And I never really understood what to use it for. um, I remembered in the playground in the beginning, I was like, what is this? I don't know what to do with this. I put some text here and I get a strange response and I don't understand. And I feel that is the level where most developers are that are still on the fence whether or not to implement or work with these tools. And I think that can be extrapolated across any vertical or any job title that you might have. So it's like we're in this phase still where most people simply have not gotten across like an experience that have had their aha moment. So that's something to think about if you're a creator in this space as well, that even if you have developed a lot in the last year and a half, probably your audience have not. So if you're creating content, if you're creating things and helping people, don't grow necessarily with the audience that you have or like with yourself, but really try to remember where you came from and what made you kind of create this stuff in the first place, and try to see if there's a bigger audience to be had in the roots, basically where we all started. So that's kind of a content play that might be very helpful for people that are doing content in this space, which many of us here are. So
Yeah, that's a good point. Everything doesn't have to be the most. It could be just basic things. And I posted something about keywords to use for prompts for reflections, and I thought it was kind of basic. I have lots of lists like that, but people, hadn't thought about some of the words. But it kind of reminded me go back, and everybody doesn't need to see the most amazing prompt that creates different things, or if you're showing them how to use a tool, it doesn't have to be something that's super complicated. Just what could they use to get something done more efficiently throughout their day? And even if they're already working with AI products and tools, like for Spotify, for instance, people probably don't realize that there's, AI working within their recommending songs and different things like that, right? But to show them how to recognize it and how to use it. I have Gemini popping up in my email, my Gmail, and in my Google Docs, and my uh, Google Sheets. Then Acrobat, we have that now. I haven't even explored that yet. Adobe Acrobat beta, where you can ask your document questions in Acrobat. So I'm working on taxes right now. There's a couple tax tools. I have to give a shout out to Kick. Oh my goodness, Kick. It's a new bookkeeping thing, and I'm getting rid of QuickBooks completely because Kick is really good. They use machine learning to help figure out, your profit and loss and balance sheets and things like that. So it's amazing how well it categorizes it. It's just KICK. They have a wait list. I will try to put that in the chat, but it's helping me so much right now. And they have real people that are looking at things too. So if you upload a receipt or something like that, they go over that. But Kick for your taxes, please, and just your bookkeeping. But people, there's a lot of things like that that I'm sure people would be interested in, right? But they don't know about it. So keep
yeah,
sharing this.
100%. Was it kick.ai, kick.ai?
I think so. Yeah, I got to look it up when I get, how
Yeah.
I am with multitasking on here, but but yeah, yeah, but I think they have a wait list right now, or they'll get you in pretty quickly, but they're excellent. It's a small company, a small brand, a small startup, but I'm definitely canceling QuickBooks.
I'm here for all these like small and nimble teams now that are actually providing a lot of value. I think that's one of the most interesting things I'm seeing in terms of like people building and actually like finding real problems or solving real problems and providing value. I met with Twilio. Twilio is a massive company. I've been around forever, and I met with them today. And I mean, no, I don't like to talk shit about people because people do a really good job, but like for them to make something in this space, they're perfectly set up, right, to be the voice to text or text to voice player, but they're just so slow. There's just so big of a company that they don't really have the vision or the mission to kind of directly become like, we're going to own this space, but instead it's like simmering. It's a lot of things cooking within Twilio, and they're working, and they're like many small teams that are building things. But when they are so slow, we see all these other players coming up from nowhere, like Vapi.ai or Air.ai, or, you know, that they just hone in and make a specialty and then just like come in and grab a large piece of the pie. So yeah, it's like exciting to see these small teams building. I'm excited about it, and it just makes me energetic. Feels like we're getting
Well, that,
places.
that's a good point, and I don't mean to talk shit about QuickBooks either, actually, because that's another great point about Kick. They set up an onboarding appointment with me when I first got my account with them. Before I even signed in, they sat there, two people, and helped me go through how to sign in, create my account, how to connect my financial accounts to that, and it saved me so much time. 1 hour sitting down with me and getting me straight set me up where that would be my main problem with not using that tool later on, because it's too much. I don't have time to learn how to, how do you do this and how do you connect that. So that is a difference. They're able to do that where QuickBooks may not be able to, and other bookkeeping's
I can I just like
tools.
hinge on that comment really quick and bring it back to like something Linus said, which is there's so much red tape at the corporate level right now. Like I work with a lot of these brands that just to get something simple creative approval for, it's like a 6 business day long process, and it goes through the email cycles. And this is the nature of things across these levels of organization. And so what you said, Heather, about it's like just finding the time to figure out the value of the tool is partially the hardest part of it. And I'm finding that in, larger brands and organizations, that becomes one of the big pushbacks that they're receiving internally is like, yes, we know that ChatGPT is great. We know that Copilot is amazing. We know that Perplexity has benefits. And, we know that there are all these solutions out there. But the challenge now is getting people internally to understand that this is a huge value add because, like you said, Linus, we're talking about developers who have been, developing the same way for the last decade. And then to say, hey, there's this cool new tool, it's just like it's met with a lot of, oh, here we go again, frustrations, got to learn a new thing, got to figure out how to integrate it. And so I think part of the challenge with like AI breaking into brands and kind of becoming more pervasive across larger organizations is getting over that narrative of like it's not just another tool, it literally is an entire transformative mindset for how you work. And so of course there's going to be the naysayers, there's going to be pushback against that, but I think it'll be a really exciting time when that gets integrated. I think that Microsoft having Copilot as part of their suite is really going to help push the boundaries for working teams a little bit. But like that education of like, hey guys, I know that you have thousands and thousands of people across this company, but like, how do we find ways to show you what the value is here? So whoever can solve for that, $1 million
Yeah,
opportunity.
that's a huge opportunity, and I think that's exactly it. And it's also the culture shift, right? Like you mentioned, there is like it's not just about the tooling or the fact that like okay, now this new technology is about the culture shift because we're gonna work differently. And one of the slides in my presentation was basically like a simplified world view where you have three circles, right? Like you have engineering, design, and business, for example, or product, and then there is a slight Venn diagram overlap in the center. That's like tiny, where we all speak the same language and we all agree. But then all major work is happening in these silos. And then we meet and convene, and maybe the design and product has a bit of an overlap, and maybe design and engineer has a bit of an overlap. But like the center of the Venn diagram is minimal. But then you put AI into the mix, and it could be something simple as using ChatGPT, but like any kind of AI tooling. And the more kind of glue you put in the middle, the closer the Venn diagram circle becomes. And all of a sudden, you have this massive cluster that's like maybe around 50% where you speak similar languages, where you can create concepts and ideas and communicate those concepts and ideas to each other, whether you can program or not, or whether you know Excel or not, or whether you know design or not. So in this sense, like AI tools becomes almost like a communication enhancer and a process enabler that we haven't seen before. It's not just about augmenting your own skills in your own vertical, but it's about getting all the verticals closer to each other. And that being said, it's like I don't think that the code that's being produced, at least not yet, by anyone from a product section of a team, for example, or a business ops section of a team, will be production ready, but it will be good enough so you can communicate with your developers. It can be good enough so you can communicate with your designers in ways that we have not seen before. And I just want to bring up a question from Colleen M. Brady, and she asks, would it be interesting? It would be interesting to know if some of the polled people, and I guess the people that are polled, are restricted by their employees in ways to prevent them from using AI tools as part of their jobs. And I can say that yes, to some degree, the large enterprise companies on provisioned laptops from the company might have rules in place, and this is something that I've heard a lot, especially today. But then again, all these developers have their own personal computers as well. So I think it's a mix of like in their jobs being hindered for not doing it, but also there's this kind of still, like I said, a bit of a scare that you're a bit scared of how to use it or what to use it for, and that you think that the output is still just going to be shit, so you're not going to give it a chance anyway. Sorry, that's it.
Well, I have a quick question and we'll get ready to leave. But what do you all think? I can't remember what the last brand was. I saw Rowan Chung wrote about 700 jobs were probably going to be let go. I can't remember what the brand is, and I don't mean to be callous, but what do you think about because there are so many jobs, tech jobs, or just customer service jobs, different things that are people are losing their jobs because it can be replaced with AI. What do you think, and especially with talking to these groups with the business groups, Linus too, and everyone else that has an opinion on this? Should people learn, like they might have uh, they might be anti using AI tools because they see it as something that's replacing them. What do you think? How can we get people? How can we bridge a gap where they learn how to use it so that it maybe takes them into the next
Yeah,
a different role or what?
that is also a question that was asked today. Like, okay, what should I do to stay relevant in my job? And I think that the easiest response is to stay curious, but that doesn't give you any specifics, right? I think for in terms of a developer, it's like, okay, actually, if there is, because a lot of people were saying that there pushes from management, there's push from seniors in the organization that, oh, we need to build something with AI, the ever so optimistic leadership team that is pushing the directives down, but they don't know what. And that's an ample opportunity for you to be a little bit of a cowboy, right? And go, hey, I have some ideas, and then you go build those ideas and you present them. That's a very good way to get your hands dirty and kind of learn the tooling. But the bigger picture is that I also think people really need to like ask themselves some tough questions. Why am I doing this job? Do I enjoy doing this job? Am I really good at my job? Am I late in my job in terms of like, am I willing to reskill and upskill, or should I shift my job focus to something that's a bit more secure against AI? Um, by the end of the day, my take on this is that if you're in the middle, you're going to be fine. If your skill set's in the middle and you're willing to kind of learn and upskill, if you're very early in your career, there's a chance that you never catch up with AI. If you're a junior today, that might be very difficult to hear, but then might be a real possibility for you to either just like drop everything that you're doing and just really focus on getting good at working with AI tools, or become a machine learning engineer instead. And if you're really late at your job cycle, just stay relevant with all the soft skills and all the hard stuff that AI can't really do yet either. And then you might be relevant long enough to stick around. So there are some hard things that we need to start, I think, really need to start debating and talking about, because things are going to happen whether we like it or not. Like, jobs are going to transform, transform first, but also get lost, and it's going to happen really fast. And that's my current sentiment.
Yeah, I agree. And I think like my husband works at a Fortune 500 company, and I didn't really realize it, but they already have, like, they have all their information. They train their own AI and their own GPT and chatbots. So basically, they already have that brain. They have the brains of the employees that are working there. And I kind of thought about it. I'm like, well, if they wanted to get rid of you, they could. They have all of your memos, your presentations, your conversation, your notes from the meetings, emails, everything. And they're a private company, but still, it's sort of like there's a lot of that going on. So people, that's a good point. Think about what you want to do. And some people don't want to leave somewhere or think about it because they're comfortable. But we've had these moments in time, the recession here in the U.S. in 2008 or so, where you have to figure out, what am I going to do if something happens? I have to have a backup plan. Or are you doing what you really want to do, or are you doing it because that's what made money, or because you happen to be in that career path or degree path in a university program? But it's never too late to learn a new skill. I learned how to code in my 40s, and full stack developer in different things, because I didn't want to be stuck out there and not have a skill, even though I'm a pharmacist. But I have them both now, and I'll keep doing. And now I'm using AI, trying to see what else I can do. Go ahead, Taylor.
Yeah, no, I love this conversation. The last thing that I just wanted to add before the fleeting thought left is that um, it's like, generationally and culturally, it's really interesting to look at like kind of the cycles that we go through. And for a lot of people who are really worried about like losing their jobs now, and now that Gen Z, of course, too, has kind of stepped into the workforce as well at like a corporate level, which is really weird, by the way. I think it's like the conversation is, oh my God, I'm going to lose my job. But like, if you look at how history kind of repeats itself in a lot of ways with digital transformation, I mean, 20 years ago, you could walk into an advertising agency and there were only 3 computers. And now you can't walk into any company without everyone having a laptop workspace, their desktop set up. And so, like, if we kind of compare it against this transformation from literally going from print to online in how we work, that was a huge shift. In working culture, in new jobs that were created, in some jobs that were transformed, and many jobs that were eliminated. But it also, again, like kind of created this need for new roles. And I think, Linus, you made such a good point about, encouraging anyone who's here that is like working with an organization or in a company that is trying to get their bearings around AI. Like, I can almost guarantee that you're probably like 90% ahead of most of the people who are thinking about AI if you're here listening on this space. So it is a huge opportunity. Companies are very eager to get really like grassroots knowledge. I've been in rooms where people are like, I want you to present about this AI thing. And I'm like, I really don't know that much other than how people are kind of using it out there. So if you think that you don't know a lot about AI, I guarantee you have a perspective to share. So it's a huge opportunity right now as those conversations are unfolding, as new processes are being created within how we work. It's an opportunity to kind of like jump in, to throw your hat in the ring, and who knows, it could just transition you into your next AI director role that doesn't even exist yet. So yeah, that's all I had to say.
No, thank you for mentioning that, Taylor. And Keith Hayden asked, "Does anyone know of any AI-related job opportunities?" And in the chat, so if you do, if anyone knows of anything, put it in there. If you are a startup or any whatever type of company, if you need somebody to explain some of these things, even if that's not their primary role, like Taylor just said, most of the people listening to this call probably could explain things better than the majority of people out there in the workforce or in the general public. So, you have value in what you know. If you're watching, if you're reading the things that we're posting, or you're posting content related to it, you at least know where to go find it if you need to know more. Also, there's just a lot of resources out there. So please share anything like that. If you have anything, please put that into the chat. And if you have a special skill that you can do something, put that in the chat too, so we can kind of go back through and look at it. There's video editing, there's music, different things like that. Document preparation, graphic design for content or for newsletters, for advertising, for different types of platforms. Just go on and plug yourself, and let's use it as a community search engine down there in a way. But I appreciate everybody. I know we went pretty late today, and I appreciate everybody hanging on here. I feel like a broken record, but I am grateful that you all chose to spend some time with us. So I'll just go around and thank everybody for coming, and we can get out of here. And Mike, and you're still here. Thank you for hanging around all this time. So I'll let you go first. Anything coming up this week, or anything you want to plug extra?
No, but thanks for having me this week, and I'll make sure I reach out next time we have something big we release.
Thank you so much for coming and sharing all this input. And you are a valued member of the community, so thank you. And Alan, thank you for hanging with me a little bit later. Thank you for. I know you were traveling this week too, but anything you want to plug or shout out?
Nope. Just want to say thanks for having me up, and enjoy talking with everyone today. And see you next week.
Well, also, you have a YouTube channel, right? That people can go check out. That you've been posting some of your sick videos.
I did. I do. Yeah, I just started it. So if anyone wants to subscribe, I'll subscribe back to you. I have the link in my profile if you want to subscribe.
Yeah, check out. Alan's very talented, so thank you, and I appreciate that. And Linus, before you go, thank you. Anything you want to share for this week or plug?
I want to plug Alan's YouTube channel. So everyone just go to Artificial Alan on YouTube and subscribe. If I don't see 20 subscribers within the next 2 minutes, I'm gonna be angry. I'm gonna actually, you know what? I'm gonna continue to talk until there is at least 20 new subscribers on Alan's YouTube channel, and that's
Yeah,
not the start.
it's
So
like we have so many people here that and it's like come on, let's just go do it.
yes,
And
exactly.
I
There's 38
appreciate.
now, and I'm keeping my eyes open on that number. I'm gonna refresh the page now. 39. So one of
Yeah,
you listened, okay?
All right, let's
yeah,
go.
let's move it. And so Alan gave me a crash
I need
course in
more.
CapCut and a few other things too, so I appreciate it. And there I'm still growing my YouTube channel. Call it a Kid Allen's. Then go over to mine too if you
Yes.
haven't subscribed.
There's
Visually AI.
people in here,
Heather
and
Cooper.
we can definitely get a few more subscribers for Alan's YouTube channel. So you go to Alan's
Yeah.
link in bio, and there's a very big logo there, a YouTube logo. You tap on that logo, and then you tap the subscribe button. And now I'm subscribed. So now I've also helped
Here
out.
you go.
All right. Did I just hit 40?
Maybe you did.
You got
46. Here we go.
Let's
We
see.
only need
See,
10
Linus
more,
is
guys. This is like I'm gonna be one of those sales guys. This is gonna be like, so nice
you
here.
stay in
I'm
the
like,
background.
I'm working at an auction house
Taylor,
now.
what's going on while he's recruiting you new subscribers? What's going on with you this week?
What's going on with me?
Oh wait, no, Taylor.
Yeah,
Something
Taylor.
happened. Wait, oh, never mind, Taylor. Something she got kicked off or something. So I'll skip her for now. Sorry, Salma, are you still on there? Thanks for hanging in so late.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you, Heather, for the spaces. And I have nothing to plug this week, but thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. And I've just subscribed to Alan's YouTube channel.
Yeah,
So you're
we're
plugging
gonna.
Alan as well. That's very, very good. So now let's see the numbers. I'm updating. We're 49. So still people, I don't know. Do you not use YouTube? It cannot be that we are 60 people on this space and
Yeah,
nobody's using YouTube. I'm very disappointed. I want to see at least 10 more subscribers before I go to bed.
get busy now, guys. And I'm looking around. Thank you all so much. As Scott, there I see you down there. Lupin Mix, Keith down there, Automation, Tom, Tony, Britta, the axis of I can't read the whole name. I'm gonna axis of extremism. Okay, what's up? I think see you were in a space earlier today. H&J B, how are you? I saw Vicky J on there before. Ron, and Colleen. There's so many great people here. And I did not, please don't be offended if I missed you. I'm just kind of scrolling down my screen. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. And I know that it's a nice way to end this week. It's been a busy week, and I think it's going to keep going this route. Last year was around this time, right? March or so, where we started getting inundated. So I guess just be ready. We will every week. I think by the summer, I kind of wonder how long this will go before we start. It seems like even the startups and the open source or just there's other smaller brands are able to come up with they're making things faster, but I don't know if they are starting to get um, if it's they're getting crowded out or overtaken. Go ahead, Alan.
Oh, I was just gonna say, very important announcement. I just hit 50 subscribers, so thanks to my hype man
Oh,
Linus.
well, that
Okay,
worked.
okay,
Yes,
now we're
and I'm
talking.
stalling too because I'm trying to make sure, like, while we're here, you all finish. Go ahead and subscribe to Alan.
Yeah,
And
I think next week, Alan, we should get you to 100. That's going to be a mission.
okay, Linus, I need you to help me
Let's
with
do it.
TikTok. I got like 40, 39 or 40 for TikTok. So maybe
That's
you can
way
help me out there.
that's way more than
Hmm?
I have on TikTok. That's
Oh, TikTok is rough, man. It's hard. Yeah, you get your 200 impressions right away. Then it's like, okay, what do you got to do on there to get moving? We need Bilal, help us out with his million followers on there. But geez, it's
he
rough.
has the secret sauce. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's such a why is he not here, by the way? I'm gonna text him. It's like, I think
I think he said he has another something else came up today. But yeah, I'm like I don't even think he's following me. I have to get on him because that might help. I don't know. But yeah, we're just
um
it's interesting trying to make content across platforms, and Alan and I were talking about that. Taylor, I know you know what's up with that. But
Oh,
it
100%.
is, and I'm not on like LinkedIn. I don't make content for LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn, but I don't. But yeah,
LinkedIn
there's a
is the
lot.
last frontier for so many people, I think, like including myself. I go
It's
on
so boring.
LinkedIn only like when I absolutely have to.
Uh,
But wait, Linus, you sound like you're doing one of those like what are those like call-in shows like the
yeah,
charity where you're like, come on
yeah.
everyone, we gotta hit 5,000 donations. Like I love this persona for you, and I absolutely think that you should keep it going in the future.
maybe
Yeah, we
that's
got
what I
the
should do. I should become like the spokesperson for the entire field and just be like,
during the
everyone, now listen, this is what we're gonna do this week. This week we're going to make Heather's day. So we're gonna collect 5,000 people. And we're all gonna go and we're gonna follow Heather on our YouTube. This is what we're gonna do. Maybe that's such a feel good thing. I can do that on YouTube and just be this
yeah,
hype master.
You could be like the
yeah,
male
yeah.
Oprah of getting YouTubers their subscribers. You get a free subscriber, and you get a free.
Five
Well, I also
subscribers
I
to
want to
you,
mention like
10 subscribers to you.
but Linus, thank you for sharing about the rare diagnosis yesterday, and
Oh yeah.
that's I hope that Zion that was such a touching story. But it sometimes just it doesn't matter if it hits every single person. But we looks like they were able to reach their goal
So I
or
just
exceed it
actually just
too.
minutes ago texted with Conrad, the father of Zion, and they're obviously very happy that we managed to get to the goal, and they didn't know that I was posting about this, so they got super surprised. But another thing that I want to actually is quite late, maybe not now, but we are considering to do something bigger with this, and not necessarily with involving people to give money, but to try to reach some very high net worth individuals that I know, for example, for me here on this platform, and try to get a hold of their philanthropy sections of their businesses. Because we have a few foundations globally. There's one in Leipzig in Germany, and there's another one in south of Spain that are working with this group of disease that Zion has. So Zion has a very, very rare mutation. There's only 50 cases recorded in medical history. So there's very slim chances that they might find a cure for exactly his mutation. But there are other people that have a less rare mutation that are equally bad, but that that are not as complicated as Sion's case. It is a very, very hard situation for someone like their parent, like Sion's parents, because there's basically no cure, and Sion is very weak in terms of muscle strength because it basically doesn't have any muscles, and it's so heartbreaking for me as a parent of two healthy kids. And also, Sion goes to my daughter's class, and we known Sion since he was 2 months old. So in the beginning, nobody even knew he was sick. We first discovered it when he was 4 months old. So it is a heartwarming story for me. It's something that I care about a lot, but I also don't want to use this as, it's not bait. I'm not helping him because I want to win people over. I'm not doing it for social clout. I'm doing it because I have a position where I'm lucky to have an audience that I know can reach people, and I'm doing it because I want to leverage that to try to help. So I'm very thankful. There's at least 20 people in my network that have, given a bit of money for his cause, and that's super, super, super appreciative. But again, I think we want to try to do something bigger, and when the time comes, I will let you know. And a retweet or a post or like an email to a friend that works in medicine or something, whatever will help. So it's less about the money and more about the collective ability to like make some noise and maybe send this in the right direction. So I know now we're really late,
Absolutely.
but that I care a lot about this. I
No,
care a
that
lot
was,
about
I
this.
mean, I know what you're saying too, and you don't want people to feel like you're, out fundraising and things like that. But they're like, I saw that and it touched me in a way where, yeah, I have children, and to see him, in that position and how brave he is to be able to get out every day. And, I can't imagine, you can't even sit up, and he's out just trying to be a kid. So if there are some people out there that that resonates with, then if you can do something, if the very least you can do, like Lina said, is share it. I mean,
Exactly.
what's going to
That
happen?
costs nothing. I mean, a like or a share or sending it in an email privately or doing something, like especially if we get to a point where we might have something that's a bit more lofty in terms of goals, because the reality is that nobody is funding these teams out of pocket, because these diseases are so rare that there's no monetary value directly for anyone to solve this. But there is scientific value in solving some of these cases, because they are so rare that there are many other rare diseases that will benefit from finding a treatment and the know-how of delivering that treatment, because it's in the gene therapy space, and specifically mutating RNA, mm, especially with mutating RNA to kind of deliver that to a very specific place in the DNA, to kind of see if that could work. The thing is with these type of diseases are that they're deteriorating the body from the inside. So basically, any muscle function slowly stops to work. In Sion's case, it's quite severe, and unfortunately, the heart is also a muscle, as you know. So there is not very good outlook on the life expectancy for him. But that being said, there are many people that live with this disease for far longer than is eh, theoretically possible. So it is really, for me, it is a life and death thing. And we're not doing the fundraise. We're not doing this because we think that the chances are really, really high for Sion, but we think by doing this, the chances could be high for others. Um, because this should have been done years ago. Like, this type of research should have been done 10, 15 years ago. But this is true for any rare disease. So yeah, I'm going to stop it there, and I'm going to be
Yeah.
very happy if you could help out in the future
No,
whenever there is something.
thank you, Jeremiah. I see you there. What's up? Thank you for stopping by. And we were just talking about, bringing awareness to rare diseases and diagnosis, and also just using our platforms for something a little bit more than just sharing cool stuff. Try to, amplify someone else's message if it can help. And you figure if we have the AI that's doing so many things. That's amazing. Why can't we find a way to help facilitate pushing it towards something else that people can help people in a different way than we thought. Hey, Jeremiah, thank you. We were winding down, but I really appreciate hearing your thoughts on that.
Oh, hey everybody. Great to see all these people I know. I just catching up on the conversation, just got here, so I don't have anything to add about diseases, but I'm in Silicon Valley
So
with
I just wanted to bring you up to speed, Jeremiah. So it's basically my
yeah,
my daughter goes to school with a boy named Sion, and he has a
thanks, Linus.
very rare disease. It's a
Mm,
mutation on the CMD, yeah, or the LMNA gene. So his mutation is called LCMD, which basically means he has muscular dystrophy. So he can't move, he can't sit up, and he's in a wheelchair, and he's 4 years old. And my daughter is 4 years old as well, and they're basically born a few weeks apart. So I was doing this. I told their story basically. I posted about it yesterday, I think, because we're doing a little bit of a fundraise for them. Um, and we're just talking about like how I'm not doing this for any social reasons. I'm doing it because I care and because I have the platform here to kind of talk about it. And then I said that we're looking to maybe do something bigger with this in the future, because we're trying to get the right folks to know about this, so we can potentially fundraise for two of these large organizations, one in Leipzig and one in south of Spain, that actually works with this. So that was what we were talking about, and also the fact that I would actually love to do something with the AI community in terms of creating some art, and then having you maybe gift that art, and we will actually print it and do something with it physically, and then sell that art, and have the proceed goes to those organizations as well, especially to cure CMD down in south of Spain. But that's for a future debate. Sorry for talking about this again and again and again. Really appreciate the time,
No,
Heather.
that's a great idea too with the art. No, thank you. That is an excellent idea. And Jeremiah, since you're out in that space and sometimes you're trying to facilitate different things, any thoughts on that? Sorry to throw you on the spot, but or any thoughts on what's going on in the world?
Well, thanks for sharing that, Linus. I just read your post on Twitter that you pinned up here, and what a cute kid. Yeah, that's great that you're helping to spread the word. I do work with some. I've met many pharma companies. They're using Gen AI, of course, to like help speed trials along, like creating synthetic data of patient data. So I'm seeing that as a way to use Gen AI to really speed things up. If they can get a drug to market 1 or 2 years faster, then that they're trying to save lives. And I think that's one hopefully potential outcome that could happen for this amazing 4-year-old.
Yeah, there is some. We're getting to the point now where the thing that we want to push for, and that science parents want to push for, is clinical trials. So there are some gene therapies that are potential. Which the medicine is not that it needs to be done specifically for a scion, because of it's very targeted medicine. And then get to the point where we can get approval to do clinical trials. I think that is kind of the current wish. And there is a few hoops that we need to try to jump through to get there. But the technology is here, and the CRISPR-Cas9 is like, dude, it's possible. And then there is a Canadian company that they've been working with as well that seems promising. But it's more about creating a voice for Sion, because obviously he's 4 years old. He cannot do much in this world for himself, and his parents are not savvy in terms of tech. And there are many stories like this. And I think in general, it's more about, can we create a little bit of noise for the CMD class of disease? Then that's very good, because there's many mutations. And in Sion's case, again, he has a very, very rare mutation. There are less than 50 medical examples in the world totally ever observed with this with this particular mutation. So I'm getting very emotional about this, but yeah, I'm gonna stop there.
Oh, thank you so much for even introducing him to us. And now I have a new superhero And if we can make something, we do have so many people. We make all these different, especially for those of us who are generating images and videos. We make a lot of stuff, and then what do we do with it? We don't really do anything, useful with it other than just share it amongst each other, or maybe put it on a channel. Maybe make something to give to Zion and others that would make them smile or make them feel special. I think that would be really amazing. I know it may not help them get better, but it can have them have a better day, maybe, or a few moments, and that's a gift that we could just do. So if you're ever collecting for that, you let us
Exactly.
know, and please send it over. And if nothing else, then he know that we are thinking about him
Appreciate it.
and his parents for all that they're doing now. I mean, as a parent, and just period, that's just a great thing, and blessings for them, and sending as much positivity and just awareness as possible, if nothing else. So, thank you, and I appreciate you guys hanging in there with us. we got Alan up there some, and appreciate that, and I think we'll have a interesting week next week. We'll be back here to do it again. Salma, I did get around everybody, I think, and make sure I let everybody plug. Oh, Taylor, did you want to plug? You were kicked off for a second.
Yeah, I was kicked
Anything you
off
want to say?
trying to subscribe to
I forgot.
Alan's YouTube channel. I think I got it, so we're good. But no, I had nothing really to plug. This was a great, very insightful conversation all around. Love the kind of heartfelt touch of it, bringing it all back to community in the end, because that's really what this is it's community. Yes, we're centered around one thing, but it's also a community who shares very real, very human emotions and moments together. So it would be cool to do some sort of I don't know, my gears are spinning of like, how neat would it be to have like some sort of a community collaborative, fundraising campaign thing that we can all get rallied around. But future conversations. Thank you so much, Heather, for this. And guys, don't forget, these are weekly Friday calls as well. So make sure that you check out next time Heather publishes a post about when the next space is, which is typically Fridays. So hang around. Also, comments are great on these, just to kind of spread visibility. And also, I know Heather is amazing at getting back to like every reply. I don't know how you do it.
I
But
try, but it's getting harder. It's getting a lot harder, guys. And
yes,
I
I
apologize if I haven't answered your DM or your comments and replies. I am so sorry, but I am trying. It's hard, but I do want to shout out again. Make sure people are aware of the RT2 remake movie. That will be. It's gonna premiere next week, March 6th, in a few days. So I'm so thrilled because Nem Perez sent me images where he was unboxing my posters that are going to be hanging up my the posters. I didn't recreate a scene. I did posters, and I so they will be on display along with the other posters at the premieres. And there's so many people in this room right now that created scenes, remake scenes. Please watch the trailer, watch the first scene that we put out. I don't know if we got another scene that was put out there, but please make sure you guys. It's really more than you were probably expecting. It's a full length movie, almost 2 hours long, and you'll just be amazed to see how creative each person was with recreating the 50 scenes throughout there. And it's something where we're just showing all the different ways we can use these tools to tell a story that's not just showing images, kind of panning across, and it's actually telling a story and trying to remake something, and stick to it enough, but also entertain and show what we can do. So that's coming out. Please, everybody, check it out. And there's a lot of talented people in this room and in our community. But please come back next week. Have a great week and take care. Thank
bye, guys.
you. Bye bye.